Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cesar's Modern Life. Before we get to today's guest, which is Kid Vista, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's listening. I hope you're staying cool in this hot ass weather. I'm recording right now at my house and you can see I'm sweating. Yeah, man, stay safe. The pandemic's still happening. If you're going crazy because people are not wearing masks and not respecting, or staying safe, I'm going crazy too. You're not the only one. It's kind of ridiculous, but if you have family members, all you can do is be like, hey, please don't go out and do all these things because it's dangerous. And specifically in Orange County, they're not letting us open anything up because people keep going to these gatherings. So if we just suck it up for a little bit, I know it's summer, but we're just have to take an L on this whole year. Like, I don't understand somebody that's in August and you're like, no, like, I'm gonna do my thing. Like, bro, we've been at this for 5 months now, and if you're still doing the same thing and it hasn't worked, maybe you're part of the problem. But yeah, let's get to the show before I go on a rant. So Kid Vista is on here today, and he is a great guy. He's been on the Rodriguez show a bunch of times, and we'll talk about that. But like I did mention to him in the interview, I said that I don't really know him outside of that, so that's why I wanted to get to know him for the show, because we're you never know when we'll be able to have friends again. So let's get to that, and enjoy. Vista, how's it going, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm here. It's hot.
Where do you live? Yeah. What city?
I live in Huntington. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Hey, it's all right, man. We all got to stay somewhere. In Huntington. Yeah. It's a nice place despite the people that are there.
The people are the biggest issue out here.
Yeah. I
live like 10-minute walk from the beach though, so sans COVID, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, can't complain about that normally.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, you said COVID. How have you been during the pandemic? Now we're in like 6 months in now, right?
Yeah. My day job, I've just been working more and more and more. I've actually moved up like twice since the pandemic started, so now I'm like management over at Petco.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I kind of just haven't been doing shows.
Yeah.
It's really weird that the last show was in December.
Yeah.
And just nothing.
Was
still
that
in the studio,
Shit Out of
still
Luck?
writing. Yeah, that was the last show we did.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like that was the last event that I went to too. Like,
we were supposed to do Shit Out of Luck 2 on the 13th of March, but they called us like 4 hours before we were supposed to be there, and they were like, yo, the city's shutting us down, we can't throw events.
Yeah. So
like we got canceled the day of.
Yeah, that Friday the 13th was like the biggest Friday the 13th I've ever experienced, because that was the shutdown and they canceled the event, and it was just a shift. That was the day that we all were like, oh fuck, we gotta stay inside now.
And we've been here since then.
Yeah, since then we're still inside.
Yeah, that's cool though. I'm pretty homebody in the first place.
Yeah.
So outside of like the shows that I'd be performing at, I haven't really.
You wouldn't be
missed
going
out on much. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of same. Like, I'm not really a party kind of guy anymore. Plus, you're in a long-term relationship, right?
Yeah. We've been together for 3 years.
3 years. You guys live together?
Up there, it's about it. Yeah.
That's cool.
She's at work right now, but we do live together.
Yeah. How's that been? Now that you're spending, well, I guess because you still had to work, you still had that time to go outside of work, but you're spending more time together now, right? Yeah. Because of the pandemic.
She was out of work for a while because she works in a restaurant.
Oh, okay.
And that was driving her crazy for quite a while. She likes to go, always working and stuff. So that was driving her crazy. We kind of just gotta like reassure them, with time, we'll make it through this. Make it through this.
Yeah, I think that's the only outlook we can have right now is we'll get through this with time.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to keep your head up and push through,
Yeah. So
good.
We've been talking about Friday the 13th because that was the time that you had the last event, but it's also the series that you started. But I wanted to go back to Friday the 13th in October of 2017, which was your first appearance on the Rodriguez show.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's crazy.
Yeah.
The 3 years.
Damn.
And it's all connected back to that Friday the 13th.
That's wild.
And you've been a regular on the show ever since. You were promoting Vista and Friends back then. And then you guys came on and promoted the first Vista Caves album. So we've had a long relationship with you on the show.
Stuff since then.
Yeah. 3 years.
It's been fun, man. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been a good 3 years.
It has, and we both of us have just been growing. You as an artist, us as a platform, and you as a platform
crazy
too.
Just looking back at like the last 3 years,
it's like
wild.
It's like I feel like for both of us, we both kind of put more of ourselves into the city because you collaborated with a lot more people since. Right?
Yeah, I've definitely tried to reach out a little more ever since COVID hit. I've kind of like not been trying to reach out as much. Like I've got Caves and Andy, and that's about all that I've seen outside of like the people I work with.
Yeah,
putting in work still.
Yeah. So how is that process of writing now a song? Is it just like, well, I know I have less people to see, so it's more like I do more stuff on my own?
Well, it really, the way that I write kind of changes depending on what I'm writing for. Mm-hmm. Like my solo stuff, I'll just write sitting at home by myself, or in the studio, I'll write it before the take, just like right before recording. And if it's something for Vista Caves, that's pretty much how we do it anyway. So we get in the studio and pull up a beat, and we're like, all right, this is the direction we should take this one in. Mm-hmm. So that hasn't changed much. A lot of like producers have more been sending stuff than trying to like actually meet up in the studio, which is understandable. But yeah, outside of that, writing process hasn't changed too much. Yeah. I've got less to write about. Mm-hmm. I guess there's not much going on. Yeah. Well, there's also a lot of shit going on. Like a lot less bullshit to write about and a lot more real shit to write about, I'd say.
Yeah. That's something that when you say real shit, and that's something that back to the first performance you did on the show was about authenticity, because there was a song you had about that.
Yeah, the one me and Caves did.
That's the one that I feel like that's why it's like we're still like, working with each other, because that really stuck with me, of somebody that just, he's a real person, making real shit. So shout out to you for doing that, man.
Thank you. That's what I always liked about you and your platform too. You guys keep it really real.
Yeah. Well,
nothing with the clickbait bullshit that I see.
Oh, and it's just more and more people keep popping up, not like to talk shit about specific platforms.
Yeah.
It just keeps happening because they see the opportunity to like.
I understand it. I just don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Music. You told me that you decided you wanted to make music when you were watching your cousins and your uncles make a track in the studio, right?
Yeah, when I was like super young.
I think babysitting?
Me, Nick, and our cousin Richie were all at the studio. It was Richie's dad and his cousins, and they were recording some stuff for this album that like I eventually used to listen to a lot. I don't know where the hell it is now. Yeah. I don't think they kind of all disbanded and do their own thing now, but just seeing that and being there was really like defining. Yeah. I think even for Nick's too, because now he's still doing it too.
He's still doing it, yeah. So music, because it was around your family, you probably listened to a lot of it when you were growing up. Was that because now you decided to make music? Was music kind of like the thing you could always count on? Was that, or was there more than music? Yeah,
I'd say a lot of the time when I was down or just stressed out or stuff, I would turn to music. Another one of the things that was always someone I could turn to was my mom. Just through everything, she's always been down. She's always been the one supporting me, even through this music. Yeah. If you've been to a show, you've probably seen her in a crowd somewhere. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Outside of music, my mom, as I got older, weed,
Yeah. I feel you. You just need that to escape sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're one of the most prolific artists. Obviously, you have a lot of projects that you've made, even in the 3 years that you've just been on the show, because you were making music before then too. I probably
couldn't name them all off.
Yeah. So what drives you now? Like, right? Somebody that you're like, I just put out this thing.
Man.
So now you have another thing coming up. Like, where does the inspiration come from now at this point?
I think kind of a lot of what I'm listening to, at least sonically, shapes sounds of projects I'm working on, because the Vista Cave stuff's usually a lot harder, but this project I got in October is a lot more like, there's a lot more acoustics, songs, some more singing, a lot more laid back than this project. And I think it's just having to listen to different artists and different sounds, keep my range wider, I guess.
Yeah. That makes sense. Like you hear something, you're like, wow, I didn't know they could do that. And I'm like, I want to expand on that. And then you make a track like that.
And going places, not that I can do it much now, but like going camping would always like inspire different like songs too. Just going to like bigger cities gives you like bigger city vibes, you know.
Where have you been camping that you really liked?
The last place that I camped that I really, really like was inspired was in Lake Tahoe. It was like years ago. It was actually what the first project Stardust was inspired by. And now the one in October is Stardust 2020.
Oh, damn. That's crazy. And how long ago was Stardust the first one?
I want to say it was 3 years ago. It was March of 2017. I believe.
Damn.
Yeah.
So now you have a sequel. So why was it? So why is it the sequel? Like what is it that had to be 2020?
It's just kind of like the sounds are really, really similar. There's a lot more, like I said, a lot more singing, and one of the producers, he produced like 5 out of the 7 songs on the original one, did 2 of the songs on this one, and I did 1, maybe 2. I think I did 1 of the beats on this one. It was just kind of like the sounds of it and the overall topics. Me and Nick have one, which is actually on IGTV, Memory Lane, which we got into the George Floyd riots, a lot of the protests and stuff like that. I have one where I talk about my dog that passed away not too long ago. So, it's just different vibes.
I feel you, man. And so you really connect with animals. Are you an animal lover? Like,
oh yeah, man. I've got now I have 12 pets in this room.
Wow.
Yeah,
how many do you have? Do you say turtles? So you have?
I have 2 turtles. Got 1 on each side, Nipsey and Hustle. I have 3 guinea pigs, Michael, Prince, and Rihanna. I have 2 hamsters, Freddie Mercury and Stevie Wonder. And then I have 5 mice, which I don't really remember their names all the time because they kind of annoy the shit out of me.
Oh, man. So, so you and your girlfriend, you must love animals to have so many.
Oh, yeah. She was a little skeptical because we had a mouse like a year ago who passed away, and that was like super hard for her because we were really close to it. But then once we got another hamster, and everyone else started filling the room up after that.
That's cool.
So, now we're all filled up.
Damn. I just couldn't be able to keep track of all the, even one pet is like, oh man, it's too big of a responsibility right now. Most
of these guys are pretty low maintenance. Like the animals that are in the closet are like the nocturnal ones, and really I fill their food bowl and their water maybe once or every other 3 days. Clean them once a week and just make sure they don't die. Yeah, it's true. It's not like everybody else is kind of like checking on daily. The boy guinea pigs like to hump each other when they're angry. So
when they're angry?
Yeah, it's like a dominating thing. I'm trying to break the habit. But.
But back to the music for a second, because I do like talking about. I was just wondered because you do post about him on Instagram. Like, how many pets does he have?
I got a lot.
So when I first interviewed you a long time ago, 3 years ago, I guess not that long ago, you said that when your goal in music was just to be working in the industry at some point. Have you now 3 years past after that? Do you still see yourself going into that industry? Well, besides like making music, but like the business aspect of it.
I still do. There's definitely things about the business that I don't like, but that's with every fucking business. It's with wherever you're gonna go.
Yeah,
you're not gonna like aspects of things, but like you can work to make a change to that, I guess. Yeah. Or you can work to not be that, and I think that's part of that goal is just to keep it as authentic.
Yeah, authentic. Yeah.
As possible.
Yeah.
And just keep true to ourselves and keep doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's true. I think sometimes like even I get kind of disillusioned with the scene because I'm like, God damn it. Like you put so much work into something and it's like when in something else that you see is less effort, it's like it becomes bigger and you're like, God damn it.
So all I got to do is dye my hair rainbow colors.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I could take that shortcut myself, but it's just, I couldn't do it because it's just not who I am, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you ever? I do get disillusioned by the music scene, but I do get. I think the creating it is its own reward, right? Like making the music is never gonna. It's not gonna stop feeling good, right?
Yeah, having the feeling of like coming up with something and creating something pretty much from scratch and then having the final product is always a good feeling. And I don't think any lack of accolades or like lack of attention will ever kill that.
Mm-hmm. It's true. The passion and drive is always there, and especially for somebody like you, because you're always creating, so it makes sense. Yeah. Have you ever doubted yourself though? Have you ever been like, I don't think I want to do this?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. I mean, it's only natural to doubt yourself, especially when things like that happen, where you're like, "Yo, I just spent like the last year and a half making this album, and you guys are bigging up this artist who didn't even get his fucking track mixed."
Yeah. It's hard to see that sometimes.
Yeah, but it's like with time, people respect the dedication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of one of the aspects that when people ask me, like somebody that can make it in the Orange County music scene, I'm like, well, Kid Vista, and it's based on just the drive and the projects are great, but it's also like the work ethic that you have is like always there. So
gotta keep working, man.
Yeah. So is there, I think that with creating art, when you express art, there's a little bit of pain that you always push out there that drives you. And you've been pretty raw in your music. And in the first performance that I listened back to, because I just listened to it today, so it really hit me, was you talked about your parents separating in the song, in the Authenticity song. What is that? Some of the pain. What pain drives you? Essentially, is what I'm trying to ask.
Man, I don't know. There's like growing up, there's a lot of stuff I struggled with. It's not knowing my real dad. Mm-hmm. Then my mom and my brother's dad separating. My mom meeting my sister's dad, who then they separated a couple years ago, but now got back together. Mm-hmm. A lot of things. Having moved from California to Virginia at the age of like 13, not knowing fucking anyone. Yeah. Just being dropped on the East Coast. Yeah. That fucked with me. I was like, I don't know anyone out here. Yeah. I was like a pretty angry teenager, and I think that fueled and probably still fuels a lot of like the angrier sides of my music. Yeah. But I think it's a lot healthier of an outlet than, some other things that I could probably turn to.
It's true. It could have been a lot worse. There could have been violence and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'll scream a little bit on a song and I'll feel better,
Yeah. And we've talked about that before on the show, is just the transformation, and when and even recently when the topic of people non-black artists saying the N-word in their music, where it's like, hey, look, we have to learn and mature from this. Like, yeah, at one point, like people thought, like, oh yeah, like I'm young, I can say whatever I want, but I have to learn from that stuff. Yeah. Like I have to learn. I can't be just saying this shit that's gonna hurt somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just a matter of growing up, and I feel like that you seem like the kind of person that you well, based on what I've experienced with you, that you've had that like growing up phase, and now it's good to see where you're at.
It feels good to be where I'm at.
Yeah, that's great.
I feel like I've grown a lot too, and I owe that a lot in part to music. And I think moving back to California helped a lot because I got to like reconnect with a lot of my family.
Yeah.
Outside of, my mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister, which, I love them, but like I hadn't seen Nick's or my aunt or like his family, and a lot of those people like I just didn't talk to as much, and that kind of fucked with me too.
Yeah.
So I feel like coming back and just reconnecting, and then not only just reconnecting, but reconnecting with some of the people that I realized I didn't really need to reconnect with in the first place. And then accepting that sometimes people just fucking grow up and like grow apart.
Yeah.
I feel like that helped a lot too.
Yeah. It's such a, I guess when you're pulled out of like you said, you moved from California and then you come back and you're like, oh, now I realize like how I can better my experience here because I missed it so much. Yeah, is that kind of what happened?
Exactly. Exactly. Because while I didn't enjoy being in Virginia, the schools that I went to up there were, because I was in the richest county in America. So the school I was in out there, the teachers were paid a lot more and given a lot more like chances and opportunities. So they were there for the students a lot more. Yeah. When I was in high school in California, I fell a lot behind because the teachers weren't there as much because they had a lot more other shit to like handle. Yeah. They don't get paid as well. They have to buy all their own books and shit.
Yeah.
So I think being out there was as much an opportunity as it was like a setback, and having gotten that education and seeing, the way the richer people live and coming back to what I actually am is in poverty and seeing the difference, I feel like that helps me a lot too. Be able to differentiate a lot of things and see things for what they really are.
Yeah, I feel that way. I feel that way too when I'm like, as I work in like Newport Beach, and I work, and so you drive into this other world of like, these people have a whole different life here, and then you come back to where you were, and you're like, okay, this is my life. Like, it really puts things into perspective, and I think that's good. I think it really opens your eyes to the differences in the world, and it creates a more mature perspective. So that's cool, man. Well, I'm glad that we had this conversation. I still have a couple more questions, but that was some of the deeper stuff that I wanted to get into. Let's talk about some music that has inspired you. You mentioned that inspires you to make music, but what have you been listening to, or what have you watched on TV? Or
lately, I've been listening to Pop Smoke's album a lot.
Yeah.
And the new Amine album.
That one's really good. That one's so good.
I listened to Victory Lap some more since Nipsey Hussle's birthday just passed.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I've been listening to a lot of like unreleased stuff from the label.
Oh, nice. So let's talk about the label before we move on from that. So you made your own label, right? You started it? Out of Luck Records?
Me and Cave started it. It was originally VTSUE, which was started by me and Nick. And we kind of disbanded that just because it's kind of like a long name. And we pretty much made it into Out of Luck between three of us all starting that. And Mikey's Gnarly came on the team with us as well. We've had a few other people come and leave, but, business is business.
Yeah.
But the roster is me, Arthur Caves, Nick's, Mikey's Gnarly, and Vista Caves, because me and Caves are...
Caves, yeah.
Yeah, the group.
It's a cool combination of sounds because you guys like complement each other well. I mean, we've heard it on the songs.
I feel like we all like serve a purpose really well. Like Mikey has that like Suicide Boys vibe, and on his upcoming stuff, he's got some like softer singing stuff that's really dope. Nick's is like spitter. That guy's got bars. Ridiculous. Caves, I don't think I've met a rapper who pushes me more than Caves. Just being in the studio with that guy is fucking crazy. I haven't made better music than as Vista Caves, I think.
Yeah. And we had you guys on when you performed at the anniversary show a couple of years back. Like,
that was fun.
And Caves too, he has that swag too, where it's like, damn,
he's just too cool. It's too cool.
Okay. How is he?
I don't even try. He's been good. Him and his girl had a little Rona scare.
Oh shit!
But they're all better.
Yeah.
He's working on some solo stuff as well. We've got Vista Caves projects lined up.
Yeah.
We're working.
Yeah. Well, what does it look like right now if things stay the same? Like, how will you start like the new album and stuff? And not that you don't have to give away your marketing plan.
Music videos, I guess, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to like get videos together somehow.
Yeah.
Shows were a good way to sell merch, but I feel like a lot of people that went to the shows didn't really turn to listen to the music.
Yeah.
I could be wrong because, they just give me cities on Spotify.
Gotcha.
Who exactly is listening.
Yeah.
But, we're still getting streams, so it's cool. We got a lot of international people listening, which is really dope.
Yeah. Well, so, I think it is turning...
videos, man.
It's turning to, like, virtual stuff, too. Like, it's just, like you said, videos and virtual performances, too, so... Yeah, I mean, we might be able to put something together with you guys if we'll talk about it off this.
Hell yeah!
Well, thank you for doing this, man. It's been really fun and chill. Yeah, I feel like I know you a lot as like somebody associated with the show, but it's good to have those deeper conversations and get to know somebody a little bit more. And that's the whole purpose of doing this.
We gotta kick it outside of this too. Whenever all this shit,
when it's okay to start doing that.
Yeah, when it's okay to have friends again.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you said the project's coming in October. When's the exact date for that? Do you know that yet?
I'm bouncing around the date for the October project simply because there's another project from the label that's supposed to drop in October, and I don't want them to drop too close to each other. There's a Vista Caves project slated for September. It was going to be September 7th, so it would be the 2-year anniversary of the Vista Caves project.
Oh, nice.
But we're still have some mixing touches to square away before we could really give a date. But it'll come in September.
Yeah.
Red, the single we dropped featuring John Boy, is the first single off of there.
That's tight.
So outside of that, it's kind of vibes like that. We got some real smooth, summery sound on there too that I think people will like a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm always down to hear your new experimental stuff because you guys always do things that are different, and then you're like, oh shit, like that worked. So that was tight.
Yeah, we're always trying new shit, man. It proves to be positive, I guess, because I don't think, at least from what we've released, I don't think we've made much bad. No. Not trying to toot my own horn, but I've listened to a lot of stuff and just not as compelling.
Yeah. Hey, I feel you. I mean, if it wasn't compelling, I wouldn't be talking to you 3 years after your first appearance on the show. Like, you have my my endorsement.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Well, thank you for doing this. And if they need to follow you if they want to follow you, at Kid Vista is the handles, and just look for Kid Vista on all streaming.
Yeah, on Instagram. Twitter shut me down.
Twitter shut you down? What happened?
I don't know. I got in some argument with someone like I always did. I run my mouth. So they put me on suspension for a week, and then right after it was lifted, fuck Twitter. How are you gonna shut me down? You can't shut Trump down. And then they shut me down forever. So there's no Kid Vista Twitter page.
Fuck. All right.
But you can still follow the Out of Luck Records page.
Yeah. Out of Luck Records. That's so you behind the scenes. They
just don't let Twitter know.
All right. Well, follow Kid Vista. Check out the project, and you'll be hearing him on the Rodriguez Show, of course.
Awesome.
When the projects drop, obviously call in.
Hell yeah, man.
All right. Thanks, man.
Hell yeah. Thank you for having me, man. You have a good one.
All right. Shout out Kid Vista for that great interview. Him and all his pets. he's a cool guy, man. That's why I wanted to have him on the show. Shout out to Mondo and Ramsey for the new theme song. If you heard it on last week's show, I hope you enjoyed it. It's a new one that they made specifically for the show. So thank you, Mondo and Ramsey, for the new theme song. And the last thing we do before we go, so I asked Vista what charity he would like us to donate to or encourage people to donate to, and he said that his latest album before the new one is one called Goats, the Goats Project, which features me on the intro. The first year streams of that are going to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and you can donate to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund at NAACPLDF.org, and I'll put that on the screen. The NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund is America's premier legal organization fighting for racial justice. Through litigation, advocacy, and public education, LDF seeks structural changes to expand democracy, eliminate disparities, and achieve racial justice in society that fulfills the promise of equality for all Americans. LDF also defends the gains and protections won over the past 80 years of civil rights struggle and works to improve the quality and diversity of judicial and executive appointments. So they're working to give rights to everybody. And you can support them, like I said, at NAACPLDF.org. I'll put that on the screen. And shout out to Vista for donating the first year streams of his album. That's really cool to them. And that's it, guys. I'll see you next week with another episode. Stay safe, keep it funky, keep it fresh, keep it sexy, and we out.